Good morning. You're on the DCEV channel, and we're having our morning chats with our coffee and whatever Adrian's drinking. I don't know what it is today. So we're just having these sort of coffee chats to see, what's going on and any topics that we've been asked to discuss. And today, it's about charging. Mm-hmm. Adrian.
Yeah, it's charging from the customer's point of view. Again, this whole concept of the channel is about the customer. So it's not so much the infrastructure, how good, bad and different. It's more charging habits, what we see. Like the other day when I was parking up at a charging station and there was a smaller car parked over the other space. So there's only 2 charging spaces and then this was parked over, which means that I could drive in, but the cable wasn't long enough. Like stuff like that. It's more etiquette. Do people really consider other people at charging points?
It's the bugbears, isn't it? It is. I mean, it's people turning up when cars have been put on charge. They don't care about the penalties. And they're plugging in cables and not switching on the charger just to get the parking spot. Yeah. As you said, it's not about the infrastructure. That's a different conversation.
Yeah. No,
I'm sure we'll get somebody on to talk about that. We've a good few people that we can sort of call on to answer any questions on that. But as Adrian said, it's just really about the bugbears and what people go through on a day-to-day basis, the frustrations, because everybody's busy. Everybody's busy doing their day-to-day, and if it's knocked off kilter by and not a charging point being not available, or a destination charger that's not working or not reported, it just puts the whole day off. You're off kilter.
But is it because when you're in the charger and say, because with a fast charger, which most of us just use the CCS to charge, so there's a 50 kilowatt and there's 3 connectors. The one we mostly use is the CCS in the middle, so that's the one everyone uses, pretty much, give or take. I know there's other types of cars and stuff like a Leaf and stuff which use the
Chatamo.
The Chatamo's the kind of thing of the past, but it's still there. Anyway, you're there and you have 45 minute slot. So after 45 minutes, if you stay after 45 minutes, I think it's in the start of the 46th minute, you get charged €8 overstay charge, which is fine and fair for everyone. Depending on the size of the battery, you can get a fairly decent charge for 45 minutes. But you're there maybe 20 minutes into it and 2 cars pull up and you're kind of sitting there. And this kind of like, pretend I'm on the phone. And you can see people going, any chance. So you just wonder, is it causing that kind of another stress for people because they're waiting? And like you can check, in fairness to the ESB eConnect car, which is the app for the majority of the charging points, it's fairly good because you can go into the charging point that you're going to go to and you can press into it and it'll go blue if it's being used, it's green if it's available. But it'll also tell you on that when the charge has started. So say if it's 1 o'clock, it'll come up saying it's been charged since 1 o'clock. So say then you're here and you go in, it's blue, it's 1 o'clock, and it's now on your watch, it's 1:30. So they've only 15 minutes left there, so you can kind of guess it like that. But I do feel there is that kind of you just see people, and then
you can see the frowns, and
because there's so few of them though. There's a fight, especially around. So in the Dublin area, there's very few fast chargers, chargers.
Well, if you go into the city centre, it's practically zero for CCS.
It's fine. And then you're competing with taxi drivers, in fairness to them, and stuff. So you can just see the angst. But like stuff like that thing I was talking about earlier about the parking space, someone that would drive in and park over the line and walk away and not consider anyone else. Because again, then that type of action, if it happened to them, they'd feel the same. So I'm just wondering, will the etiquette get better? Obviously if there was more charges, you wouldn't have that issue, but it just seems to
we'd love to hear your stories. We'd love to hear sort of the situations you've got into and the depths you've gone to get a charge, because obviously it's a fight for the survival of the fittest sometimes when you're trying to get a charge. So it'd be really good to hear, or send us a message about what you've gone through, what you've had to do to get that bit of juice into your car. But I think on a more serious level, I think there are plans to roll it out. I know Ionity are rolling out more. Tesla, again, it just opened up the Supercharger in Sandyford, in the Tesla Sandyford service centre. So there are more coming out. EasyGo are pushing out more chargers. But I do think having to download all these separate apps is a bit of a problem, and people sort of get a bit frustrated by that. Where I know, for instance, in the UK, the GridServe in the UK, you literally just pull up and you tap your credit card. You don't need an account. It starts the charge, and then you just tap your credit card when you finish, and it just gives you a charge. Very, very simple. On your way, there you go. So, again, we'll probably get into more in-depth about the infrastructure, what's coming down the line, and we'll get some of the experts on to have a chat about that. But this was really, as you said, it was just a conversation just to see what the state of play is at the moment, what people are going through.
I'll give you another one though. So there's Dundrum, like I know this is kind of Dublin focused, but there's Dundrum, a couple of supermarkets where it used to be free, so you just plug it in. I think it's only, it wouldn't be 22 kilowatt, it'd be 7 kilowatt charge. It's small, it's slow anyway. But now they have introduced these new, Dundrum Shopping Centre have introduced a new company, I can't remember the name, but again you have to download, instead of just plugging it or on the ESB app, you have to download another one. And so for the sake of you're an hour shopping or whatever, you're not going to get very much charge. So you're just thinking, I'm not going to bother. And that's what happened to me. Pulled up, went to charge, and then I thought it was just the ESB one. It wasn't, because on a different floor. It happened in the supermarket as well. And the way I felt was that I could not be bothered. I'm just not going to do it. And I just wouldn't do it. So I presume people feel like that as well, because it shouldn't be too much hassle. It shouldn't be. The minute it's hassle, you just forget about it. But ultimately, going back to it, you'd never advise someone to buy an electric car without a charger, if possible, at home.
Yeah, no, I think
because otherwise you're chasing your tail. I'm just talking about specifically superchargers, as in the faster charge, 50 kilowatt plus. And if you are at the supermarket or wherever it is, where they're adding more apps onto it, it's just not the way forward. As you said, what's the one in the UK? The one? GridServe. I mean, that makes sense, And again, I know Ionity is more expensive and all that kind of stuff, but people don't mind the convenience, You'll pay $1.50 for a can of Coke and Centre as opposed to 80 cents or whatever it is. They don't mind. It's hassle. If it's hassle, people just shut down. I certainly do.
Yeah, no, and I think, as I said, there are plans, and we'll get people from different companies about charging to talk about it, because we do think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And obviously we welcome your comments and topics and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I think that's really covered on the
that,
charging.
By the way, is a protein drink.
Very good.
Because aspiring athletes need that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Just to
it's not made a difference. But anyway, we just had a comment about where's our fireplace as well. But, obviously we're fossil free here, so there's no fireplace. We might get a picture of a fireplace, so stay tuned.
But that's actually real plastic, in fairness.
It is.
So that's it. Subscribe, press bells or whatever you have to do. And
send us your comments.
Probably see you in the morning.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.